Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting. This is game number 2 between Rising Stars and MiTH Trust. We are at the G1 League qualifiers phase number 2, and of course this is a Beyond the Summit presentation done by Luminous and Gods. We had a long break. Hopefully everybody was able to refill their drinks, got a snack, because we're here, and Rising Star could be actually moving on and MiTH Trust getting eliminated should they lose this match.
Yeah, game 1 did not go well at all for MiTH Trust. The anti-mage pick early on just got completely punished by the Queen of Pain Storm Spirit. The two semi-characters being so aggressive with their roaming and ganking. And, well, MiTH Trust have got to bounce back here in game 2, so it'll be interesting to see what they look to go for here.
Yeah, I mean, again, Lakel's most famous for his anti-mage, most famous for his Morphling play, but those two heroes are not exactly, I guess, the prime carry of choice here in this particular metagame. So, if they want to do something like that, I mean, I think Orange picked the Morphling a couple of times, and it actually worked well for them. Of course, Mushi as well as EE Imba played it beautifully in the respective games. So if they want to go that tactic, there are some draft where it works, but I'm looking towards MiTH Trust of moving away from those kind of heroes and into more of something that are more relevant in this current metagame.
Yeah, so we'll see the first pick over on the Radiant side for Rising Stars. They're going to have the first pick. Last time it was the first pick Mag. Mag's still in the pool here for Rising Stars, so if they want to grab it, they can. I think the big difference in this game is that Keeper Light has been banned, which was picked up by Rising Stars. A hero which is pretty annoying to go up against, as we saw for Anti-Mage. He kept getting mana leaked in. For the laning stage, Illuminates kept flying out, getting these kills, but it will be a Mag first pick, so this will lead into MiTH Trust having 2 picks of their own. Probably see them picking up one of their 2 supports, maybe the Shadow Demon, maybe the Rubik. Rubik does fit in nicely as a semi-counter to the Mag, being able to steal that RP, but more likely than not, they'll get one of their solos as well as one of their supports here.
Actually, Gats, I want to get your opinion on how Mag has been a hero. Remember when he was kind of quote-unquote introduced into the pro scene when his skewer range got really buff, as well as a lot of his spells got buff, and of course we had that big nerf where that skewer got below his, what is it, 16 initial cast range, or 1600 range, 1800.
I think 600 at level 1.
Yes, now it's 600
to 200.
Yeah, now it scales a lot more fairly, if you will.
Yeah.
When he was quote-unquote introduced, he was top pick top ban. Now he's still top pick top ban after receiving some big nerf. Actually, I think by teams placing him on the mid lane, it seems like he's actually more useful, at least in the current metagame. So how do you feel that this particular hero is going to be played in the next couple of months? Do you think he's going to hit some big nerfs in the 6.78 patch, which I imagine will be coming out in the next month or so?
Ooh, I think there'll be some tweaks. I think the main issue is that it's like you always say when you see an Enigma pick, this here is an inferior version of Magnus. Black Hole just is not as good as RP. It's a lot easier, I think, to place an RP for one thing. There's no cancelling. It's there. It doesn't get cancelled. The stun is always going to be there. Slightly shorter maybe than a Black Hole, but it's so reliable. You've got such a good spam coming out. You've got the ability to just take the mid lane regardless of what the hero matchup. But I think a lot of it comes down to the ability to bottle crow. Any hero can go mid if they're a hero with a spamming spell, because you can just bottle crow to sustain yourself. So I don't think it's something you can do about that as far as Mag in the mid lane, and I don't know what you actually changed to make him less of a top pick. Maybe some slight tweaks to the RP.
Or maybe actually lowering a little bit of his cast animation, lowering his basic stats. We've definitely seen the tweaks from Ice Frog, but I'm not sure if he's going to be immune to the nerf stick. But for now, we can't really talk too much about that, as Mag is going to be the first pick for Rising Star. On the other side, we're going to see Queen of Pain as well as Rubik, so able to steal that RP if you actually have those quick fingers, and it will really kind of fight back in that big team fight. But again, whenever I see a Queen of Pain, I look towards how quickly she farms that Orchid, how quickly is she going to be relevant in big team fights.
Yeah, it's, to me, a hero who can be locked down, especially if it gets off to a bad start. You have to have that good sign. Oh, is this a Chinese team picking Wisp?
Yes.
Lumi.
Yes.
This is one for the record books. A Chinese team has just picked Wisp, but they pick it with an anti-mage. I don't know what I'm watching here. One thing a Chinese team picks Wisp, and another thing they pick Wisp with an anti-mage of all heroes. Like, where's your CK, man? Come on, Rising Stars.
Forget the CK. I remember we had this discussion over. I do remember it was a great Chipotle burrito. I personally believe Wisp is great at offensive games. We've seen Fnatic run their Wisp PK lanes. I think Wisp is a very turtle hero, and I know a lot of people out there thinking I've lost it and think I'm crazy. Wisp really gives your team the opportunity to counter gank anytime you want with +2. It really discourages ganking if relocate's up. So I'm not sure if they have picked that in mind, but of course, with how aggressive Rising Star played last game, with Stormstormer getting Orchid, with Queen of Pain getting Orchid, it could be just the good old Wisps ganking all around, and even if you're Queen of Pain, even if you're Rubik, you are going to get hunted down.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they lane this. So it's Mag mentioned he does a lot better in the mid lane, and if Mag's gonna be mid anti-mage in the safe lane, then it's a Wisp supporting the anti-mage. It's a very early Wisp pick at that. That's the other surprising thing. It's not something which either team's been playing much, and you wouldn't really see it banned, but they wanted to get it nice and early, or almost if anything just to say this is what we're going to be doing, MiTH. Let's see what you can do about it. They pick up the Naga Siren for the time being, something which Lakel's most likely going to be playing in that sort of semi-carry role. And, well, it's a good hero to have against an anti-mage. You've got the Ensnare, you've got the Illusions, you can try and mana burn him down so he can't blink away, but all in all, I'm really curious to see how they lane this for the Chinese team with this Wisp pick.
I actually love the Naga Siren pick here. Actually, I think it shuts down basically every single hero so far on the Radiant side or the Rising Star side. Because let's say your Magnus jumps in with a big RP. Unless Naga Siren is going to caught in it, he could rescue his teammate very easily by popping that sleep. That's going to set up your Rubik spell steal, wherever that's going to be the case. Also, during the mid game, if Wisp, Anti-Mage, or whoever that's going to relocate in, you pop the sleep, you stand there for a couple seconds, the Wisp stands there for a couple seconds, and then he just flies back. So I think this is actually a very smart quote-unquote counter to deal with what Rising Stars have so far. And obviously, MiTH Trust, you know, tapping back into the powers of TI2, this could be some wombo combo that we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, I think this is where MiTH Trust have sort of had their most success in online, well, in just tournaments in general, has been when they've gone for the wombo combo. Naga Siren for Lakel's, Queen of Pain at the mid lane for Arbor, and then they go for something like maybe an Enigma in the off lane or in the jungle. They'll pick up these, they won't stop here when it comes to the teamfight wombo combo. They'll go for a Tide, they'll go for an Enigma, they'll have it all. It won't just be these two heroes already. Darkseer also still in the pool, so they'll add more to this big teamfight wombo combo if they can. It is not going to be the easiest thing to lock down an anti-mage. You're going to need, as soon as that Song of the Siren wears off, he's going to be looking to blink out, so you need to have that black hole already on him. So if I'm Rising Stars, I'm thinking you still want to be banning the Enigma here. If it Enigma's still in the pool. So I think Enigma's something MiTH Trust will quite happily take.
I mean, the fact that they have Blink Tether, the fact that you're so mobile with your stuns, maybe they could feel like they could play around the Enigma. Of course, there's also Silencer in the pool. Again, I hear that we don't see too often, especially in Chinese game, but that's definitely a counter to Enigma, a very reliable counter to Enigma at that. So maybe they're not too afraid of that hero, but the fact that he gives your team basically a free mech holder, the fact that he frees up a lane, the fact that he could be the long lane, he could be pushing, and of course a big black hole with a blink, and it's also very threatening. I'm in agreement with you, I think a very safe ban is the Enigma ban.
Yeah, I haven't banned it just yet. Weaver and Leshrac, I'm not too sure what these bans are targeted at. I don't think, especially the Weaver ban. Leshrac makes sense somewhat as a potential support to combine with the Rubik, but the Weaver not something which MiTH Trust are likely to look to pick up here. Bounty Hunter and CK get banned by MiTH Trust. They're worried about the Wisp CK combo. Even though this is a Chinese team, they're still worried about Darkseer will cop a ban. So there's one offlaner taken out of the pool, and with Enigma still in, I imagine that's where MiTH Trust look to focus their efforts. Clockwork now banned by MiTH Trust, and I mean, what MiTH Trust, you know what they're kind of do. You're expecting something like an Enigma with another support, but Rising Stars, where do they look to go from here? What's going to be their next pick? Do they go super aggressive, even though they've got an anti-mage? What kind of offlaner do they actually look to get for themselves as well, or is Mag maybe going to be the offlaner?
I'm not too sure, but I think we shouldn't be too, I guess, jumping the gun too much, thinking that Anti-Mage is a late-game farming heroes. Most teams have actually Anti-Mage to play more of an early to mid-game carry. For example, Mouseport love to actually run it as a, I think he goes Vanguard Vlads, even Manta, or maybe Manta into Vlads. There's a lot of early game builds on Anti-Mage, and it could fit very well, especially if you're getting overcharge, damage reduction, and attack speed. So we'll see. We can't really assume it's going to be an Anti-Mage late game, although that's definitely of course, the most common and viable build. I mean, Wisp has already thrown me out of win. I don't even know what to expect, and this is going to be a puck from Rising Star, and certainly the laning gets a little bit awkward here for Rising Star as well.
Yeah, I don't like puck in the offlane all that much. I think Mag almost is the preferred choice to go in that offlane potentially, or otherwise we see them look to do something really obscure. Like you could even do like, instead of Wisp CK mid, like the European suit, go Wisp Anti-Mage mid, but then you still have the problem of who's going into that offlane. It's got to be either Magnus or Puck, so one of those two heroes will have a tough time. Whoever it's going to be. MiTH Trust now with their two picks. They need another support. They need the offlaner. Jakiro, a support they like to run, combined with that Rubik. And what's it going to be here? And yeah, I don't know. Do you feel the Puck or the Mag? Which is more likely to be in the offlane?
I think Puck's definitely the stronger offlane hero, but we've definitely seen teams put the Magnus in offlane thinking the 600 skewer range is going to be fine. Especially against the Naga Siren with the Ensnare is a very, very powerful disable, which, by the way, both Puck and Magnus could get out of. I think, you know, they're okay running which one. I personally want to see a big Puck mid, so I'm hoping that Puck goes mid. But again, both people on the offlane is probably not that good. Not really what they want.
I wasn't expecting this Lone Druid pick from MiTH, that's for sure. I guess as they're most likely going to be in their offlane.
Yeah, I mean, Queen of Pain could offlane. Again, I don't expect to see it. This is just a really awkward draft. I guess that's the only way I have to contribute so far.
I agree, from both teams. Well, I think MiTH was very standard. They like the Queen of Pain, the Rubik makes sense, the Naga Siren is something which plays to their strength, but the Lone Druid is where it gets awkward for them. It does make sense as an offlaner, but it just doesn't really fit their style. Their style is normally to get that Enigma or that big team fight, but they decide they want to sort of a blend. They're going to have the split pushing power of a Lone Druid, and this is to me more that typical Southeast Asian style of split push. You have Lone Druid to be in the offlane, he can be pushing his lane. Naga Siren, a good split pusher as well, so if they can buy time for themselves, they also have another sort of semi-counter for the Anti-Mage with the Entangle, and just a hero who can basically take Anti-Mage head-on in a fight, so it's a decent hero in its own merit, and there's your additional team fight. They get themselves a Tidehunter.
Well, the thing, you talked about split push, but can you actually split push against a Wisp, right? He could be on top of you instantly. So, you know, let's leave that for discussion later on. I just want to point out that Wisp plus Sand King is a very, very cute combo, because you have Sand King channeling his epicenter and then get relocated in, and he's bringing his pulses alongside. That could be very, very disruptive and insanely powerful as well. But again, that's more for the mid to late game. For now, Rising Star on the Radiant side down, or seems to be up one game. Off to a beautiful start in their G1 League phase number 2. Mofi going to be going up top here as Magnus. He was off the off-lane player playing Clock last game. Air going to be going mid with Puck phase already selected. A lot of stats here. No quick bottle build being rushed here. Xiao Tuji going to be playing the Anti-Mage. We have Super playing the Wisp and XDD on that Sand King once again.
Over on the Dire side, it's MiTH who are down one game. This is a must-win for them to stay in this tournament, the G1 League. Got R5 on the Tidehunter. SD playing the Rubik. They're both heading down bottom, doing some early warding here in the jungle here. We've got Naga Siren and the Kells. This is an offensive trialing by the looks of things. Arbor at the mid lane on Queen of Pain, and that leaves Lone Druid as the safe lane solo played by TNK. So they're going for the 1v1 matchup up against the Mag, or it's going to be up against the Mag. They're maybe not sure if it's Mag or Puck just yet, but they'll find out soon enough. And bottom lane, tri-lane versus tri-lane.
I really like this laning choice here, especially by MiTH. You know that your 1v1 lane, TNK, he's going to, I want to say win the lane. He's not going to dominate the lane against Magnus because he's always going to shockwave farm. But you expect your Lone Druid to win basically any 1v1 lane. Of course, the mid's going to be a wash, basically, depending on skill level. Nice dewarding here by MiTH. Finally, I think a common misconception, I want to say, but a common understanding about Wisp is that he doesn't actually provide a lot in the early game until he hits level 6. So a lot of Wisp really depends on warding, or excuse me, pulling the Ancients, pulling the jungle, pulling and stack pulling multiple ways and get that level 6. So this is going to be a very, very good and sure way to shut down that Wisp. Also, Sand King doesn't actually offer you a lot of laning presence, which, by the way, shout out to Come With Me, boots Sand King first, despite him being support. So he's actually looking to be aggressive. And I gotta say, Burrow Strike at level 1 with Tether is pretty decent stun. I'm not sure whether that's enough stun against this tri-lane, though.
Yeah, I like that they've gone for the boots first. Unfortunately, it's a tri-lane versus tri-lane. I was probably hoping for the offlane Lone Druid, because without any regen clarities, this tri-lane versus tri-lane suddenly becomes pretty difficult for Sand King to go up against. He can share the regen with a Wisp here, but this laning decision from MiTH is really going to work out. They haven't got the strongest tri-lane of their own. I mean, having Rubik and Tide as your two supports isn't really a natural offensive tri-laning supports, but when you're up against a Wisp and now a Sand King with no regen items, this offensive tri-lane suddenly looks really good.
I mean, look at the skill choice that MiTH has actually selected level 1. Anchor Smash on Tidehunter? I mean, as well as Telekinesis, it doesn't actually do any damage. So I think if MiTH is looking for a go, they're looking at level 2, because that's when you get access into Gush, that's access into Ensnare, as well as your Fable. So that's suddenly a lot more damage. And you talked about a Sand King, very low base armor hero. And of course, if he doesn't get access into his Sandstorm, he could be easily picked off as well.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to use these pulls just yet. If there's Sentry Wards coming out, Wisp was actually heading back to base. I'm wondering what these two supports are actually going to do. They're both walking back towards base, maybe looking to gank another lane. I think they're rotating top. I think they're going to just abandon
There's a
bottom lane.
smoke coming here on the courier. He's going to be
Okay.
smoking with
That's
the
what it
sanking,
is.
and they're going to be moving very, very quickly.
Top.
is going to be a good place to gank, although, again, you know, TNK, we'll see how good his awareness, and actually going to come in from front. Actually, I like this gank quite a bit. A lot of players don't expect a frontal gank. They always think, oh, they're going to come back behind because that's, you know, not the obvious path. But with a smoke up, you can go wherever you want to go.
It's curious. I don't think they actually need to use the smoke. You've got boots on sanking and a tether movement speed. I don't think you necessarily needed to use that smoke. They are going to do so anyways. And well, they get revealed. Skew are going to lead things off here, but this should be your first blood. Boots sanking. There's an extra tether stun as well. This will be a death on TNK. He didn't really expect this gank, and I'm surprised they even used the smoke. I don't feel they needed it there.
It's daytime and you're walking from the front, so it's better be safe than sorry, because if you don't use that smoke and you waste a lot of time up top and you don't get that kill off, then suddenly you're basically, you know, sitting not pretty good. Of course, Wisp needs that level 6 as soon as possible, so yeah, I think the investment is well sound, especially hindsight again 2020.
Yeah.
They got the gank off.
And Antimage completely abandoned bottom lane. We'll have to see how he does here. Imagine almost next to no farm going his way. The lane's already been pushed out, so Lakel's keeping at his tower. I love what he's doing here. He tanks the creep wave a bit so it doesn't get under his tower, and as a result, this creep wave is going to stay very far pushed out. Antimage should not be able to get any farm. He's even going to struggle to stay in XP range now. The two supports going right on top of him, and, well, Wisp and Sanking, they're nowhere to be seen. They're maybe going to look for another gank at top even. It looks like that's where they're drawing lines.
I mean, it's basically a for sure and a very, very easy gank. Sanking with that boots of speed, and as well, Tether, it does increase your movement speed. You can see that Sanking just with boots and Tether, 419 movement speed. That's actually broken, the way that you think about it. And they're going to go right up top. If they don't get the kill here on TNK, and if they get a kill on Titan Z, they'll be very happy on that. TNK, by the way, very, very squishy at this stage of the game. 625 HP. That's basically a couple of nukes and a couple of right clicks.
Tide's there though. He's waiting for this, and it looks like he's pinging. They've seen each other. So Tide's TP top, and I mean that TP pays for itself when you scatter this gank. Even though it's 135 gold down the drain, they say, hey, Lone Druid, these two heroes are here. I'm going to help keep you alive, and R5 now going to get some XP and farm of his own at top by using this pull. So they just keep a dual lane bottom, and this is all you need to stop this Antimage from farming. So maybe with Sanking look to go back bottom, but right now they're going to go for a gank on mid. They're looking for Queen of Pain. There's enough stun to start things off. Is there a waning rift? There's no mana. Didn't have mana for it, and Arba going to get away here. Gets a bottle coming in as well, so just surviving that one.
And really a missed goal if you think about it, because Queen of Pain's going to get that bottle curl, so you're not even actually ganking her out of the lane. Anti-Mage is basically doing nothing because you gave up that lane. And of course, you're failing that gank up top. Again, your supports are wasting a lot of time. That is time where you could be pulling your high-level camps, pulling your camps in general, and basically ensure you get your Wisp to level 6 as soon as possible. You can't actually gank back on your bot lane because by that time, Lakel's is going to be tanky enough. He's got Trango boots already, but they're going to try anyway. So they're going to run through wards as well. Burrow Strike, are they going to go right on SD? They lift him up. They toss him back. There's a net on the Sanking as well. And SD, despite all this blocking, oh no, the Burrow Strike still gets off, and the Mana Burn is coming off big and fast. Shabuchi, he somehow actually got the kill, and XDD is going to be fine as well because of Sandstorm. So very, very well played. I underestimated ganking power, again, of that level 1 Wisp, but level 2 Wisp, but it's doing work.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to work. After that telekinesis and the follow-up by the instant, I thought, oh, Rubik's actually going to live this. And then, nope, the movement speed was still there. The boots first Sanking really paying dividends. Although, unfortunately, it means they're not having sentry wards. They can't deward. They can't use their own pull. And that's really what's sort of leading them to suffer a bit as far as XP and farm goes. They can't use their own pull. But with 2 kills now going their way, Sanking has got that level 2 Burrow Strike up. He is level 3, which is the big thing for him at this point in the game. He wants to have that extra range on. It's going to be some time before he hits level 5 unless we see some big team fight clashes go down where he gets a lot of XP. But having just level 3 right now is a nice little pickup.
I mean, pull speed damn, you're getting experience and gold from the enemy heroes, which, you know, probably is actually exactly what you want anyways. But back in the mid lane here, Abba actually has forced the puck out of lane for a little bit until he bottle curls up. Really, the mid lane is all about bottle curling. Puck, by the way, hits level 6, teleport scroll up, and that should be a big red flag, basically for MiTH Trust. I cannot tower dive because that puck's going to come in and make us pay.
Yeah, and right now, Antimage's been completely abandoned. He's got no farm at all. He's sitting on 10 creep kills here to the 28 of Lakel, so he's really going to need some more space to get that farm up, because it's a hero who, if you're not getting the early farm, that early battle free, there's not a whole lot else you can really be doing. So I expect with SK to spend most of their time bottom. They're going to do just that. They're maybe going to be looking for another kill here. Dire has lost vision. We're now at that 6-minute mark, so we'll see that pool being spawned. Wish SK can start using that pool camp, and also There's no vision to scout these ganks. Rubik can have to be playing very, very safe.
I mean, one thing that I really forgot to point out, we talked about Sanking lacking the regen. Tether gives you the regen from the Wisp to the Sanking. Of course, that moment has really passed, but that really allowed them to sustain their ganking path, roaming across the map without having too much regen. Here we go. They're going to focus, trying it on the Naga, but Naga's very tank. That Burrow Strike's got to hit. The Tether is going to apply that stun. The Wisp balls are in your face. They're going to focus on the Kels, but he's just so damn tank with the armor as well as the mount, the block, and XCD getting harassed back by the Fable and Rubik. So gank attempt really failed, but here comes the Puck, getting a little bit of movement speed increase. Are they really going to make that dive? No. TP scroll fail on Puck, more freeform from the Queen of Pain mid lane, and getting that level advantage is exactly what Queen of Pain wants.
Yeah, should have just waited for the Puck maybe to come on in, and now Puck gets scattered out by a Queen of Pain illusion, so the gig's really up at bottom lane. Air just has to go back mid lane, look to compete for the Queen of Pain a bit more. Queen of Pain actually poking around at this crew does a little bit of damage there, not really anything too threatening to it, but Air, he's back mid, he's going to need to do some bottle crowing maybe, and all in all, MiTH Trust, they're looking a lot better here in game number 2. They're not really ahead or behind. Actually, as far as the goal goes, the Radiant team with a slight edge. The one hero who we have to keep an eye out for is going to be this Mag. Well, Mag as well as Puck. Rising Stars have two heroes who can look to gank around the map and be very proactive in turning around these team fights, but they're two heroes who are choosing to sustain their respective lanes for the time being. Yeah,
also, again, I just want to keep track of Wisp's level 6. Once they get it, I mean, it's going to give Rising Star a lot of option, whether they want to play aggressive or defensive. If you want to sit back and farm Wisp plus relocate on any support, suddenly a +2 in a team fight, and it's so hard to actually get those kills on Anti-Mage and Puck in the first place, you can't deal with 2 extra heroes. And of course, Magnus, one is his Blink Dagger is going to come. He's got that Arcane Boots, and of course, on off lane, you can't expect too good of a time in terms of Arcane Boots, but he's got 33 CS as off lane in 8 minutes. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all, and we'll see how things continue to go from. But I think a lot was helped out by obviously by that early gank from the Whisk SK, but right now, still staying on top of his lane. Lone Druid has managed to catch up a bit, and he's picked up the Poisoner. We'll have to see if it's going to be the Radiance build or the Maelstrom build, which we've been seeing a lot of lately, but all in all, things are slowing down for Rising Stars. The Whisk SK duo is not finding any more kills, they're not finding more ganks. It's 2 kills to nothing in the favor of the Rising Stars team, but their supports are really struggling to find those openings, and that Wisp level 6 looks somewhat far off right now.
Yeah, I mean, generally when you get 2 kill advantage, you expect your supports to be very, very much fall farm. It looks like they're going to go right on the bot lane, but here comes the Puck. You cannot dive a Puck team here. Super is going to go back here, but Anti-Mage, trying to drop that Mana Void, has got picked off.
Yeah, lifted up in the air. He just doesn't do enough damage, and he's still pretty squishy at this point in the game. It's a rotation as well from Arba. Queen of Pain is here, invis behind the tower. We'll look to find anyone. He's going to go finding. Walks right into Queen of Pain here in the jungle.
I'm not sure if Puck realized a little bit body blocking. He's got to know something's up. But here we go. They can focus on air. Blink forward. Yeah, there's going to be the Puck walking along the tree lines.
And the lift up allowed the Sonic Wave not to be dodged by a phase shift. So it's one of those awkward moments where if you're watching your hero really precisely, you'll notice the slightest of body block and what should be a kill here. Sanking actually going to find R5 now. R5 very, very low. Blink, Anti-Mage, Mana Void, not going to do enough damage. Is there an ensnare? It looks like Naga Saren's out of mana. Telekinesis is there. Lakel's, well, he's got no mana, but he's damn as hell tanky, and there's not really much to bring him down at this point.
Yeah, and that's 2 kills now, equalizing the kill chart here for MiTH Trust. MiTH Trust not doing too bad, but multiple teleportations going up top. Super already got those Wisp balls channel. You can actually get double balls up, and that could be a lot. Look at the RP, the balls exploding, but not a little tiny bit missing. They focus here on TNK, still gonna get that kill. I love the coordination. It didn't happen as intended, but still, getting that kill very, very key, especially for that Wisp 4.5 right now.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I think using RPs for solo kills is well worth it when you have a Wisp who you want to hit level 6 as fast as possible. And also Puck getting some needed XP as well as gold from that. So he's up to level 8 now and rotating back towards the mid lane to get some more farm, which is going to be his Blink Dagger, but his Blink Dagger is still a long way off. Queen of Pain, not really looking ridiculously farmed. So Queen of Pain and Puck sort of sitting fairly level. And Mag at top lane is actually probably the hero doing the best on this Radiant side.
He really is. I mean, he's getting close to that Blink Dagger, about halfway there. And of course, he could get teleport by the Wisp eventually into right on top of the enemy team for some big, big RP. But for now, just having friends with Wisp, which by the way, Wisp is only one of the few support heroes that could actually justify getting a bottle. Regenerating your own HP as well as mana, as well as for your allies is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice little pickup there as we are going to be seeing the bottle there. Bottle TP scroll right now, so no boots, nothing on top of the bottle, but getting close to that level 5, and we'll see that level 6 hopefully coming relatively soon. Sanking level 4 himself, so he needs levels as well. That's another hero who's very well, it's very level dependent and also farm dependent. You want to get the arcane boots, you want to have a blink dagger up at some point at a fairly decent time, but right now, Sanking's a bit starved for gold and XP.
Yeah, it looks like bot is looking to pressure a little bit. Anti-Mage still basically getting nothing. My camera is basically on the Wisp. They got that smoke on Sanking, so they're looking to make something happen. I wonder what the thing happening is right now. Those spirits about to explode. Generally, when you see a pro Wisp about to gank, it's generally when his Wisp is about to explode. But it looks like he's not sure what he's doing. He's just kind of like walking back and forth, and that's not getting him a lot of EXP.
Well, he's not really getting much at all out of this, and I think Rising Stars, they really need to be somewhat, I guess, very decisive about what they want to do here. Even if it involves bringing both Puck and Mag to get themselves 1 or 2 kills, they need to do that. They need to just keep this momentum going, keep getting some additional kills on top of what they've already got. And that's going to be what gives Anti-Mage space to farm. Because if they send maybe 4 heroes top, use both Puck as well as Mag ultimate to the kill, that's going to involve TPs from some of these other heroes, space for the Anti-Mage, and hopefully Anti-Mage to get himself some more farm. Or possibly, he's just going to find himself getting ganked at bottom lane.
Man.
Tide sends in an illusion, and this is trying to bait the Anti-Mage back.
Look at this gank coming out on the top lane here. 4-man gank, 2 of them smoke. Wisp is waiting behind to tether back. And TNK,
okay.
some next level, I mean, that's a lot of time. Well, the Wisp basically shows it. And they know something's up now, so... Oh, are they going to still dive it regardless? Here we go, Burrow Strike, that's going to hit. Is there going to be a Wisp? Yeah, there's going to be a Wisp Tether sent as well. Balls are on top of TNK's face. They're going to get that kill and not going to pay too much. Looks like a teleportation's going to come in. Got to be really careful. That's Queen of Pain to get a kill immediately. Can they RP? Yes, they do. Got to tether the stun. Yes, they get it as well. And even the mini stun from the Puck Dreamcoil. Well, they got a second kill on top of that. Wisp is going to be 6. That's when the game really begins.
Well, nice play from Rising Stars. I like that they send 4 heroes top, because either all the heroes if the only way they can sort of turn that around and save Lone Druid maybe, or look to sort of punish Rising Stars, is by TPing multiple heroes. And if they do that, Anti-Mage gets space to farm at top lane. If they don't come help, well, what happens there happens. Ooh, Naga Siren, Song of the Siren is looking to counter this top lane. Wants to make sure this tower doesn't quite go down. It is going to get down to deny range in the kills. He's already popped that song, and he's got no backup. I think he was expecting some backup there.
Yeah, there was a TP scroll that was coming after him, and then it got cancelled, and then it's like, oh wait, I can't actually go in. This is 1v3.
Was Void was used at bottom lane? No.
Well, it was cooldown. Yeah, I think he might have been in Mana Void, and then
25 seconds ago though. That must have been well before that song, I feel.
Okay, all right. I mean,
maybe not.
Well, here's the thing though. Wisp level 6. He's gonna have a decent chunk of gold as well here. Are they TPing? They're looking to actually look like it.
Not yet. Wisp actually out of mana. Now he's got mana.
Oh.
Wisp and Mag, they're grouped up, and this is... I mean, you haven't really got an obvious candidate for Wisp to go flying around the map with, but Mag does work pretty nicely. Take into account his damage output at this point. Level 4 Shockwave with a level 4 Skewer, that's about 500 damage right off the bat, and a lot of chasing potential to get that second Shockwave off. So they're seeing it found, and they're looking for some prey. Top lane.
Top lane immediately. Here we go, trying to jump out of that is LNK, but you're not jumping away from this combo. Dreamcoil even going to be used, toss him back, and well, that is a free gank. Are they going to keep chasing? Burrow Strike goes forward here on the Rubik. Rubik should be fine. XCD perhaps in a little bit of trouble. Wisp TPs himself back home, but suddenly Sanking, well, he's kind of trapped.
Yeah, Sanking, there's no getting out of that. Sentua goes on the ground and easy little pick up here. Mag gets left top lane though. Wisp doesn't bring him home, and I think that's fine for the time being. And this is the space Anti-Mage is getting now. Even though Rising Stars, I mean, they trade 1-for-1 at top lane, but it's really a much better trade for them. For one thing, they kill off the MiTH Trust carry player, Lakel's on the Naga Siren. And for another thing, it's Anti-Mage at bottom who's getting some uncontested farm finally.
And again, you know, when you gank Anti-Mage, suddenly 2 to 3 people TPing in. You can't really take account of that, especially when you don't see Wisp on the map. Wisp, by the way, got the bottle, now has 2 charges on this urn, got some TP, got some wars. His impact's really being felt. They're going to go right on this Puck, but Puck's really tanky, trying to bait out the phase as Abba, but drawing him away. Oh, big RP jumping with a Blink Dagger. Is it going to be Skewer? Big Ravage going to be dropping. The Puck coming in. Sonic Wave's going to hit one as well. Anti-Mage going to get kept alive. Very nicely done. The Whips, balls are flying around to get the kill here against... Oh, Queen of Pain. Gonna die. 2-3-man TP out. But the big Mana Void.
Wow.
Gonna get that kill. Anti-Mage joined the fight. He was so close to death. Survives. And now, doing a lot of work for the team.
All the small things that fight went Rising Stars' way. Anti-Mage surviving about 20 HP, and The mag as well. That Sonic Wave was so close to hitting him. If that Sonic Wave had hit him, he would have gone down, but it just sort of fell short of hitting him. And there was 2 kills which MiTH could have picked up. If they get those 2 kills, they also only lose 1 or 2. I think they only lose 1 hero maybe, and they would have had a favorable trade, but unfortunately things did not go their way. It was the smallest amount of inches going against them, and now 3 more kills to Rising Stars also. Kills going to key heroes. Antimate's getting closer and closer to a Battle Fury. You've got Blink Daggers on Mag, you've got Sanking now with some golden XP to go with it, and, well, the Wisp pick, it's working out for Rising Stars so far.
Offensively, defensively, this hero is just absolutely insane. He doesn't even have boots. Not that he needs it, because, hey, he's flying around the map. Tether's going to give him insane movement speed in any case. Unfortunately, going to walk right into wards. One of the big thing about Wisp is you always try your best to stay out of vision. You don't want to know where they are, where you are. And if they don't know where you are, well, they're going to have to play blind against a global TP hero that brings into it. Here's my question. Is Lakel's going to be going for a Radiance? And if he's going to be going Radiance, is it the correct build against this particular lineup? I got to say, it's good against the multiple Blink Daggers, but seems pretty bad because I feel like he needs to tank up.
Yeah, I think tanking up is the way to go here.
Well, mid lane here, Orb's going to fly in. That's going to not really hit these 2 heroes. Ravage was been used in the last team fight, so that's a nod to his Wisp in terms of jumping and start getting some team fight going. But for now, just farming in the jungle, looking for more levels.
Yep, and Anti-Mage just 1k gold off that Battle Fury. So time is really ticking for MiTH here. We see Radiance build coming out of Lakel's, and, well, he's got to get that soon. He's got to start accelerating his farm. It's going to be this carry Nagasarin going for a lot of powerful split push. But like you mentioned at the start with the Wisp pick, this is the perfect hero to have to punish split pushes. Lone Druid pushing one lane, Nagasarin another. Well, Wisp says, bring one with him, let's find a pick-off. And as a result, maybe MiTH just have to go, when they get these items up, they're not really split pushing, they just have to group up as 5, but their lineup just isn't anywhere near as strong when they're not going for a split push. And here's your Wisp ulti. He goes top, he's looking for pick-offs here, but there's a lot of waiting. Tide is there with the Ravage. This could get turned around. Ravage not going to be popped just yet. Dreamcore goes... well, the Dreamcore leash stun is there, and now Queen of Pain blinking and gets a Scream Sonic Wave onto the Sanking Mag. His RP lands, but Skewer not gonna hit anyone, just gonna escape his way out of there. Trying to TP, Ravage being used, and Rising Stars, they've slightly overextended here, I feel.
It really did. Of course, the Dire played it perfectly as well. They show 1 or 2 hero on the map, showing vision of the River Ward, and of course the rest of the team is smoked up. That is the best way to deal with the Wisp. Not knowing where the enemy team is really hurts Wisp's play, and they jumped in regardless. Of course, if you jump into a tie with a Ravage up, you're not gonna win that fight. And of course, they kind of split up. Wisp was not able to really help his allies for movement speed or regen, and really it was a really ugly fight for Rising Star.
Yeah, I think they're still in a pretty comfortable position for the most part. It was just a slight overextension there. The heroes they do lose, Mag, he's already got his Blink Dagger, he's already got his level 11, and at the end of the day, they're still giving more space for Anti-Mage, who does have that Battle Fury, 19-minute Battle Fury, Tranquil Boots, with that Crawling Blade and all that, and pretty much all the other stuff that he needs. It's not the worst. It is somewhat timely considering he was up against that Trialing versus Trialing, and essentially he was a solo for the first 5 minutes of the game.
I think it's not that bad considering what happened. Yeah. Like, he didn't actually see a creep for the first 5-6 minutes, so I feel like this is actually a very, very good timing Anti-Mage or Battle Fury, considering the fact that he got nothing. So it's not that bad. This strategy is paying working, and again, Sanking Wisp, they're like best buddy at this point. That relocate didn't work out. But again, I feel like sometimes, like I always say this, having the threat of a spell might be more than having that spell itself. I hope that's making sense.
Yeah.
The fact that
it's like an Enigma. Enigma, you never, half the time you'll win a fight without using a black hole, but just being afraid of the black hole.
Exactly.
To not engage as well as they'd like, because they want to engage on you as a 5-man unit, but they're like, oh wait, we can't do that. There's a black hole. So one hero who they need just sits so far back.
That's the same thing here with Wisp. We can't engage as any way we like because there's always a threat of Sanking teleport in. MiTH 3-man hate party going on the bot lane against Anti-Mage, but how do you gank this hero? You gotta have an Orchid. Does Queen of Pain have it?
Not yet.
Not yet. They're gonna lift him up. Blink lift here from the Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage blinks back out. Immediate TP. Well, a single point of magic spell or spell shield is gonna be enough, and he's made it out there. Big TP up top as epic music cues here. Well,
is the epic music back?
The epic music is back and it's loud here.
I thought I got. Oh, I guess it's not the new patch yet. New patch apparently it fixes.
Why? Why'd they fix it? It's a great addition. They just gotta time it really well so that they play the epic music during ganks like this and not farm time. because...
There should be, like, music cues for when, like, certain ultimates are being cast.
Yeah, like, as soon as Relocate came up, epic music cue, so that was great.
They could definitely trigger it, so, like, if there's more than, let's say, 7 heroes in X amount of range of each other,
sure,
then
yeah.
it says a team fight about to happen or is going on.
Well, maybe not, because it gets really confusing during the Roche pit, you know?
Yeah.
In any case, TNK gets blown up immediately, and...
Well, easy pick off.
Yeah.
Tide goes top, and I think the way you do it is you have the epic music play, and then there's some trigger. Once damage starts happening, like hero and hero damage, then you know there's a team fight. That's when you start like the separate team fight music.
Well, I mean,
or like build up music.
There's also Power Shot Illuminate. I think this actually deserves a separate topic. We could definitely talk to Valve about that. Meanwhile, though, Abba taking a fight against Anti-Mage, not the fight that she could dig. She could easily blink away. Gonna still bait back and forth. Gonna go for that kill. No mana, because, well, she got most of her burn. Could be stress switching.
That was a clever little blink from Anti-Mage going up.
Meanwhile, though, Tier 1's going to get taken down. RP's back up. Relocate back up in about 40 seconds. I gotta say, despite everything happened here for Rising Star, I felt like they had the weaker lanes, but mid-game, they got it all under control.
Yeah, they've got it all under control. They've got the late game as well, the Anti-Mage, and what do MiTH Trust have? Looks like they've got the Radiance going out. Nope, the items are going out to Lone Druid. Here goes Mithril Hammer, so just a relic up on Naga Siren at the time being, and that's... I feel this Radiance is coming too late for the Kells.
Too little, too late, and what is Radiance really going to help you do? Farm more?
Yeah, I think that's the game plan here for MiTH Trust. It also allows you to... You can split push to some extent because of the Radiance illusions. You don't have to put your hero in danger, so maybe they can look for at least for maybe some split farming as well as pushing with Lakells, but he's going to get caught out of top lane. There's a blinking from the Pug, and here comes your Wisp once again. Wisp tanking there. Can they bring down the kill?
Ooh.
So close.
And this is exactly what I mean about you gotta tank up with the Naga, especially against this particular lineup. Radiance doesn't do anything for you. Now, obviously, he did survive that gank, but if next time we're gonna be bringing for example, Epicenter, she's definitely not surviving that particular gank. So a really lucky break here for Naga Siren, especially the fact, well, they had to dump it Ravage for that, but still a pretty good one. But back on the bot lane here, tower goes down. So does Anti-Mage though.
Yeah, so does Anti-Mage. Queen of Pain catches him, and well, with Orchid now up, they can actually hunt him a lot easier. He hasn't got that Mantle, and until he does, MiTH Trust, they can just send 2-3 heroes, and they can actually pick him off now fairly reliably.
Yep. XDD is going to be chilling at the top lane as well. He's actually very close to his Blink Dagger, so the teamfight capability is actually pretty respective. Mofi's got to TP out of here, because no, actually, Queen of Pain not going to be chasing him for now. If the way that Rising Star's playing right now, I feel like they're so in the lead because generally you don't play so deep in the enemy jungle unless you particularly feel like you have the item advantage to do so.
Yeah, I think they're playing this so confidently, and then they have Anti-Mage. You can just sit back home, farm this bottom lane. He does have to be somewhat wary of these ganks coming in, but even when he's getting ganked, it's his team who are farming the enemy jungle, pushing out this top lane, looking for pickles, or at least pressuring Lakells, who still doesn't have that Radiance. He may have survived that last gank, but that Radiance got slowed down quite badly, and at 24 minutes in, as a, well, somewhat free-farming Naga Siren, it was a tri-lane against a solo Anti-Mage. You'd expect to have at least something along those lines, and this is an Anti-Mage who's going to have him power in the late game as well. With this mag, he gets some additional damage, additional cleave, and he's going to be dishing out some real DPS in these fights.
Ooh, Air, a little bit of misstep out of position. Normally you get away with those things for free because you have phase and you have things like orb, but not against an Orcus. So Queen of Pain gets a free pick off here, and they're gonna try to lead this push. Shipper throwing those blue balls around, trying to defend this push, but I think it's time to actually give it up to this tower. You don't want to take a fight with your Puck being dead. With that said, though, there is Mofi on his hiding spot somehow actually reviewed it. And I'm not sure how they actually know that Mofi's inside, but towers goes down regardless. Puck's playing so far ahead because he knows he could actually tether to an ally and really zip himself back, so he's not too afraid.
Yeah, I think he's just quite happy that he can back off if need be. Anti-Mage is bottom lane. He's getting some more farm of his own, just going for that bit of a counter push there, even though he's not going to do any pressure or damage to the tower. It's saying, hey, I'm here, MiTH Trust, if you guys go for our tier 2, Anti-Mage will go for yours, and Anti-Mage farms out the Ancients once. He's actually found himself a haste rune.
Is he kind of trying to go for this kill?
I don't think it's going to go well for him.
Well, here comes the TP. But there's an epicenter being channeled. You can see that he's losing so much HP. The balls! Oh no, he's gonna be fine. And this is exactly what I meant during the draft phase. How epicenter, or excuse me, Song of Siren is such a good counter to Wisp. They're gonna get relocated back though. So they were hoping for a little bit extra. There's an epicenter being channeled here by SD. But yeah, those ganks against Naga, not really what they want. And to be honest, it's not the fact that where Anti-Mage could have got the kill against Naga or not. It's the fact that he's wasting time not jungling because he's going for those ganks. I feel like if he's rising up, you should call him rising stars now. But he should be just rising all day, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still not a bad little attempt there. It could have gone so much worse. I think they actually got a bit lucky not to give away any kills there once the turnaround came. Naga Siren, once he survived that, there was suddenly a really big threat of Rising Stars losing one, maybe two heroes, including the Anti-Mage. Queen of Pain was there in time with an Orchid, and I agree he needs to be rising up, because until he has that Manta style, he's not safe from the aggression of MiTH Trust, from these ganks coming out, from the Queen of Pain Orchid.
Speaking of that Queen of Pain Orchid, Anti-Mage working hard to, again, combat that, like you said. For now, we do have Epicenter being held up on Rubik, which, you know, when you have a very, very innocuous casting animation, it could be good. Air, he's playing so far forward, but again, he's got to respect the fact that there is a Blink Queen of Pain with Orchid, and if you could silence and disable that Blink Dagger, you get a free puck. But,
well, it's good at Yule.
Yeah, it's got a Yule, so,
himself up,
and that will dispel the silence as well, so.
If he Yules an orb phase shift, he can maybe get out of there, but it's not going to be all that reliable. He hasn't got a... Oh, no, he's got a Blink Dagger as well. What am I talking about? He's got Blink and Yule, so he should be fine with the Yules against the silence.
Yule into phase, Yules into Blink. They just he has a million way to survive now, so MiTH Trust got to look for another way to kill him. Maybe Cypher Vice is what they need, but obviously Queen of Pain doesn't have that level of farm. Going to be going for BKB, which is going to be a very, very good item against so many mini-stuns, silences, as well as, you know, those Epicenters and Tether stuns and all that stuff.
Well, here's your Manta style from Anti-Mage, so we will see more survivability on him. He's also hit level 16 now, so that ultimately going to be doing more and more damage, and that's something which Queen of Pain especially has to worry about in these fights. Rubik I guess to probably just as much an extent, because Rubik very, very squishy. Queen of Pain just very high mana pool, also going to be chewing through a lot of mana whenever you pop that Sonic Wave. So all in all, I think things for Rising Stars are going to a good, stable mid-game point here with this Manta pickup on the Anti-Mage.
So in terms of how the game's going right now, where both teams, I mean, they're trying to look for kills, but both teams are just too survivable. Who does it favor? The Anti-Mage with a Battle Fury that's rising wave, multiple jungle. Hold that thought here, as they're going to go right on TNK. Immediate teleport scrolls are coming in from the Dire side. There's an Orchid. Looks like there's a self-Yules, and is he going to be fine? Air is going to be phasing. He's going to be trying to blink back out. Will he? That's a question. No, he doesn't get the blink off. He gets picked off. Obviously, Wisdom Sand King's going to be fine. So, well, that was not intended.
Yeah, they're getting a bit ahead of themselves. They see these potential pickoffs, but MiTH Trust are always there with the counter ganks, with the TPs in to help save these heroes, and they're doing a good job of that so far. Back on your point, I think the late game, or at least as far as where we are now, I think it still favors Rising Stars. They're the ones with the slight edge. As far as Golden XP goes, they're leading by 2, 3k, whatever it may be. Ooh, Lakel, Song of the Siren TP out, and I feel Rising Stars, having an Anti-Mage late game, his split push is just so scary, and the Wisp is actually going to be something which prevents MiTH Trust from going for split pushing of their own. So strategically speaking, I think Rising Stars have the better all-around lineup and late game strategy.
Not only that, I mean, despite Anti-Mage being the only solo carry against Naga Siren and Lone Druid, which generally means, you know, the Dire carry has better late game chance, Anti-Mage gets Empower, Anti-Mage gets great mobility, Anti-Mage gets Overcharge, and of course Anti-Mage gets backdoor opportunity as well with Wisp Relocate. So I feel like the longer this game goes with more items on Anti-Mage, he's going to get scarier and scarier. I mean, Anti-Mage with Global TP is kind of OP. Is that a fair thing to say?
Well, I don't know about OP, but it's definitely a very a very powerful and strong late game potential here. And I feel it's not even the carries aside, I feel Rising Stars just have a really well-rounded lineup going to late game. Mag, RP, Sand King I think scales better than Tidehunter in the late game. Tidehunter is just a Ravage Sand King. Burrow Strike, you can use it multiple times in a team fight. If you're just chasing a single target carry, well, you can stun him multiple times. So I think overall Sand King's a better hero to have late game than a Tide. And then, well, Queen of Pain is not really looking to be a huge threat. We'll have once with the BKB, we'll be a lot more survivable. And what does this Lone Druid actually have at this point? I feel like he's been very underfarmed for a long point of this game. He needs to get. He's starting to build towards an Assault Crest. Once we see an Assault Crest on MiTH Trust, maybe then they can go for a 5-man push with BKB, Queen of Pain, and the Assault Crest on Lone Druid.
It's definitely not bad farm here on Lone Druid, but I mean, especially the fact that he got ganked a couple of times and he's laning against the Magnus. But yeah, I'm worrying about the late game potential. I think Queen of Pain is quote unquote a saving grace. Generally, I don't like Queen of Pain going much late the late game. Yeah, she's gonna have her Cypher Vice, which is nice, but in this particular game, she offers what what not many teams has is a quick way to burst down Wisp. Wisp, even in ultra late game, he's going to be very, very low in terms of health, especially when you're draining your own health and mana with Overcharge. Queen of Pain could just lock him down, focus him down, and if you remove Wisp in a team fight, you actually remove quite a bit of DPS from the Rising Star team.
Yeah, no, I agree. You remove some DPS and also just some general survivability.
Sure.
Not having the tether up, it can make a big difference in these team fights. So it's a hero worth trying to focus down quickly, especially for Queen of Pain, who can do so very fast. It's probably the perfect target deck to use that Sonic Wave on. Other heroes, Anti-Mage isn't going to be taking as much damage from it late game. Mag is very mobile and won't really be in corner. He's just going to be looking to position himself so that he hits off that big RP. He's in a BKB now, which will help make sure he doesn't get locked down in these fights as well. It's
really just a direct answer to that Orchid. I mean, last game we saw the Magnus unfortunately just got shut down by 2 Orchids, so BKB says forget that. Also, if they want to start looking at massing BKB, keep in mind that the Song of Siren does not lock down magically immune, or does not put magically immune heroes to sleep. So, this even against that, you could just RP through it if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, and MiTH Trust now, well, things are settled down for them. They're going to go for a smoke gank here. Likel's, no, he's not smoked, just the other 3. So Arbor, SD, the Tide, Queen of Pain, as well as Rubik, all smoked here. Hovering around this middle lane. They're drawing scribbles all over the Radiant jungle here. We'll have to see if they look to make a go for it, but right now, they're not in position to do so. And this to me seems like a good time just to take Roshan. They probably don't know it's safe, but right now, most of the Radiant team are far off. Anti-Mage top. They'll maybe see him soon, but it is a pretty safe time to go into the Roshan pit.
I agree. I'm not sure exactly what's slowing them down right now. You have a lot of DPS from that Lone Druid. The Radiant does know, but it's going to be somewhat difficult for them to actually go in. With that said, there is a global epicenter. And yes, it is a global epicenter, so it could just get dropped onto anywhere.
That's always not going to be a very friendly thing to be up against. And the Radiant team, well, Air's nearby. He can look to scout this out maybe with his Orb, and he's going to quickly realize they're not actually in the Roshan pit. Immediate blink in by Zaltushi. That is brave, and he's doing this. He's actually picked up a Reaver now, so he's going to go for that Heart of Tarrasque. He's really tanky at this point.
Yeah, I mean, once he finished the Heart, I really don't think they can bring him down unless you're focusing multiple heroes on him at the same time. MiTH Trust says the only way we can actually focus multiple heroes on Anti-Mage is when we kill the other 4, which is going to be hard to do.
Well, Lone Druid, very close to an Assault Crest now. He's got all the pieces except the recipe, so he's just 500-600 gold away from having that key item for MiTH Trust. You've got Naga Siren building towards the Heart of Tarrasque as well, just tanking up is Likel's, and I think all in all, MiTH Trust have actually are not in as bad a position as I would have expected them to be in based on sort of where the game was at 15 to 20 minutes. Once Rattlesnakes were ahead by about 5-6 kills and had some momentum going with the Wisp and Anti-Mage finally when around that 90-minute mark when Anti-Mage goes Battlefield, I'm thinking, oh, this isn't looking good for MiTH, but they've actually salvaged this game quite well, I feel.
I mean, again, a lot of Anti-Mage's powers, quote-unquote, shut down this game. The split pushing is not going to be effective because you have Lone Druid who could easily defend against split push. Same thing with Queen of Pain. Same thing with the Naga Illusion. So Anti-Mage generally knocks down so many free towers by himself. Not in this game, though. He really doesn't have any freebies.
Well, and now Naga Siren with an Aegis picked up by MiTH Trust. So Heart, Aegis, and many, many lives. As all Rising Stars can really do is continue to split push at this point. I don't feel they want to take MiTH Trust on a head-on team fight, despite the fact they have a Mag, Sand King, Puck lineup. Yeah,
also Puck, Wisp, by the way, working towards that mech. Between Meg and Tether, that's quite a bit of healing, especially on your Anti-Mage, who is definitely a very tanky hero. Ooh, Blink in here. Gotta be careful. First hit and tank. Oh, he will manta that out. Blink's gonna get stolen here by the Rubik. Which, by the way, he's been using that Blink to very, very good effects. Of course, freeing up your gold Blink for Blink Dagger, and really taking advantage of that instant cast of Telekinesis.
MiTH Trust now, looking just to keep pushing these lanes out as much as possible. It's actually MiTH Trust. Despite being up against this Wisp lineup, they're doing a really good job at least going for a semi-split push. Queen of Pain was at bottom. They have the Naga Siren with Illusions at mid, and now they've got a couple of heroes just pushing out the top lane, not really split pushing at this point, but they need to be careful because there's a lot of Rising Stars heroes nearby looking to try and jump on them.
Yeah, I really like to see the TIE Hunter gets Blink Dagger. Generally, when you have a Naga Siren, you don't really need something like that, but because the Radiant is initiating and they try to kill so quickly with Epicenter, RP, and things of that nature, you really want to counter-initiate as soon as possible. But unfortunately, he just doesn't have that goal to actually get something like that. Anti-Mage on the bot lane trying to get some farm. You can see that Dire is trying to lay on a trap for them with that Blink Telekinesis and the Orchid on top, but really with Demand Style and, of course, a Reaver and a Heart now, you're not killing that guy.
Yeah, I don't see them doing so. They're maybe going to make a try for it. There's a silence. We'll see a Manta. This is what
They barely scratched him.
damage? Yeah, that was it. Tickles maybe.
Well, that epicenter was not exactly a good one.
And well, Rubik with a stolen blink. Hey, actually, turns out the gank on the Anti-Mage actually maybe semi paid off.
Sure, yeah. The next couple of seconds, next minute or so, Wisp doesn't have his ultimate.
No Wisp ulti, no Sanking ultimate, and a lot of heroes rotate bottom. I think they realized they weren't killing Anti-Mage, but they force up all these TPs and all this protection, and Rubik wasn't in much danger because he has this stolen Anti-Mage blink. He quickly blinked his way out of there. And same thing for Queen of Pain. They both just blink on out, so they're just wasting time for Rising Stars, trying to just frustrate them, I think, at this point in the game.
Yeah, and again, like 20 minutes ago, we talked about how if this game goes late, the Anti-Mage is going to be free farming very, very scarily. Has backup, and Power has backup. The Wisp has decent AoE from his allies, and we're very, very certain, or at least I was, that Anti-Mage is going to be the harder carry in the late game. But you were talking about farm earlier, and Naga as well as Lone Druid is starting to get quite scary. So let's reevaluate that situation. If this game, let's say, goes for 20 more minutes of nothing happening, who wins that one?
Whoa, it's really close. It's going to come down. I think at that point you can't really give either team an edge. It comes down to the positioning of the engagements. When you've got, I think MiTH have the slightly stronger overall damage output with Lone Druid, Naga Siren, and Queen of Pain, but Rising Stars with a Mag ulti on the playing field as well as Sanking with a potential epicenter into multiple hero Bio Strike, it comes down entirely to positioning.
That's a cop out, man.
I don't think it's a cop out at all. I think
it comes down to positioning.
Imagine if you have two teams with the biggest wombo combo possible, and it just comes down to who has the better execution and positioning in those fights.
Wisp, by the way, is not near a teammate, which is not exactly how you want to play Wisp, as his 4 guys are smoked up top. Maybe I think they're showing Wisp on the map to say, hey, we're not ganking you, and when in fact they are ganking you. And if they do get actually, the smoke dispels, they know exactly where he is. Blink forward, and there's no, wow! Overcommitment, maybe?
That's some hate.
That is some hate, indeed.
Well, I think if we see Mag building towards a refresher orb, if he gets it up, if we see 20 minutes of farming and Mag has a refresher orb,
sure.
Puck with a Scythe of Ice, I think the Rising Stars still have a slight edge. Anti-Mage will be 6 slotted by then, but you'll also be looking at Naga Siren with, well, Heart Radiance and then at least 1 more item, maybe 2 more. Same for Lone Druid, you'll be seeing a Bash up, maybe an MKB on his main hero. Queen of Pain with a Scythe of Ice, but I feel Mag refresher, double ulti, will be the deciding factor.
I mean, you talked about mobility, and let's not forget that the Radiant has a lot more blink daggers as well, and of course the carry has a blink on himself, so yeah, I think in terms of going late, the mobility factor is also on the Rising Star side. Glyph's going to get forced out. Wisp is still nowhere in that fight here. A little bit of nukes are getting dropped on Anti-Mage, force out blink. And again, I feel like Dire right now at this point just want to keep on rising because they have a lot of room left for growth, but also with that said, Magnus getting double RP is not exactly something you want to combat against.
Yeah, and Anti-Mage, he's still got 2 slots here. He still can pick up that butterfly and then look to drop that TP scroll and get something like an Abyssal Blade. So there's still room for him to get those next big items as well. I
do want to say that doing the camera work on this particular game has been nightmarish because there's so many blinks. There's a global TP, and who could resist watching Anti-Mage blinking around farming?
Yeah, Anti-Mage at this point is just happy to keep on farming. He's blinking, but he's not slamming. He needs to change that.
He's slamming some creeps. Yeah. He's slamming them pretty hard. This cast might not even be PG-13 the way that he's slamming these creeps, but he's working hard.
Well, we'll have to see if he can move on to some heroes, step it up, upgrade to the next level. But MiTH, they're taking advantage of this space they're getting. Lone Druid TNK, unfortunately, the one who gets picked off a bit earlier on. And has Ty got himself a blink dagger now?
It's on the courier, it's flying in. There's that blink dagger. And again, generally with Naga, you don't need those kind of setup, but you want to counter initiate fast and hard, so that blink's going to be very, very helpful. And Wisp is constantly being seen by these Naga illusions. Wisp, by the way, is slowly going to get to that level 16 as well, which normally not the biggest deal, but in this game, you want the lower cooldown, obviously, and you want the extra levels of overcharge. This is actually a good time to start looking at overcharge and what it does. It gives you more than a hyperstone in terms of attack speed. It gives you percentage damage reduction, which is absolutely insane in late game situations. He really needs to worry about his own survivability, though, because Queen of Pain can find him and basically burst him down, especially with 1200 HP, 40 minutes in the game, and it's not enough.
Yeah, there's definitely some scenarios where overcharge can just be ridiculous as far as keeping heroes alive. If they try to 5-man gank the anti-mage with Scythe of Ice, that's where the overcharge comes into play, because you tether him up, and while he's like, oh crap, he's in all sorts of trouble, he can't blink out because he's scythed up or silenced, well, the overcharge can help keep him alive quite a bit longer.
Ooh, they find SD. SD's gonna get picked off. A lot less hate in this particular gank, but I think they're gonna get a tower on top of that.
Yeah, they'll get a tower as well. At least it looks like a tier 2 mid. Maybe they're going to look to keep on applying some pressure a bit further. No Roshan for some time, so they can't look to just back up and take that. And MiTH Trust, they're going for a counter push at top, something they have to be careful doing because there is a Wisp on the playing field. But Wisp, he's on his own. He's at bottom. Oh, sorry, he's at top.
Ooh, there's going to be a couple... No, just a TP coming back in. I do want to point out that the wards of the Dire, look at how deep they are. I'm not exactly how they Mission Impossible deep into the mid jungle placing those wards, but it's actually very helpful because, again, more sight against the Wisps. If you see him relocate somewhere on the map, that's more information for you to work with. Again, let's check out how Mofi's doing. He's got 900 gold in the bank. Anything on the courier? There is an Oblivion Staff. I imagine that's his. So we're getting towards that double RP. And Sand King, he's working for a Black King bar. Do you actually think a Veil of Discord might be a little bit better?
I like this item. The silence really hurt. The silence, the Orchid can really hurt Sand King. Burrow Strike as well as Sandstorm not being able to be cast, and Tide Ravage always going to be a pretty big threat. So I think BKB is a decent choice here.
Sure, especially against...
They've got a lot of damage from coming up. Anti-Mage, Puck, Mag, there's plenty of damage to be dealt already. I don't think Veil's as essential as... I think BKB does transition much better into the late game.
Anti-Mage just finishes the late game item Butterfly. No buyback for now, although I don't think buyback's definitely a worry. With 2500 HP, 30% evasion, 23 armor, Manta split heart regen, all that jazz. And of course, Wisp to save him with Tether, Relocate, Manta. I mean, Mech. This game's not doing anything. It's not going anywhere.
No, it's really not. It looks like we could be in for at least 60 plus minutes unless one team tries to make something happen. There'll be a tower deny at mid. That's the biggest happening in the last couple of minutes.
Cue epic music, please.
Yeah. Come on, Valve. Valve, blocks.
We definitely need some epic music to live this game up.
Well, Anti-Mage with a Butterfly, so we'll see where he goes from here. He doesn't have a TP scroll. Now he's got a TP scroll. He's ready to defend, and, well, he can get his boots of travel. He can also sell that TP and finish up that. So he's actually going to find the Kells here at the bottom lane. The Kells needs to be careful. He's actually completely out of mana here. He's got a Soul Ring. Look at this late game Soul Ring from Lakells. He may have to pop of it. It's on cooldown. And he's going to get scythed up as well. TNK may be tipping into his death. There's your epic music. Tide, where's your Ravage? R5, R5. Ravage, there we go. It's come a bit too late, it feels like. Wisp is going to go flying Vite. Pause is requested from Arba. I'm not sure if there was something a bit of an issue there. Puck is actually in the side. Puck gets away. Okay, it looks like we're not going to see anyone else go down in this fight unless it's a MiTH Trust hero because Anti-Mage decides, hey, let's keep on killing.
Yeah, Naga has no buyback. Like, this could be Rax right now.
Oh dear.
Man, I did not expect Naga to die there. I mean, he has freaking heart and a Mantis style. You expect him to completely fine. Suddenly, Wisp TPs, and there was a Scythe on him somewhere? Was that the Puck? Yeah, the Puck came in out of nowhere as well. And suddenly, Naga's dead. This is Q for the Radiant to go straight down mid, or if they want to take tier 2 and go down bot, that's completely viable as well. But I did respect the buyback from Naga.
Yeah, you can see the power of Wisp in the late game there, because Anti-Mage wasn't getting that kill on his own. He will be able to get the kill of TNK as well. Once again, not alone. It's with Sand King as well as Puck there, but not going to be able to do enough damage quite. Tide's, well, no, there we go. Anti-Mage, the final blink, and does get up the kill. It's at the cost of the Sand King, though. Queen of Pain's arrived. SD also taking a lot of damage on that Rubik. He gets a blink away, though. Silence on the Anti-Mage, but this is not going to be enough to take him down. Nowhere near enough. Anti-Mage, another blink in, going to go into the Tide this time around. SD! Did he blink into that? And here goes Mofi. Mofi showed up, blink, shockwave, down goes Tide. 3 heroes dead. Naga Siren still for 17 seconds, and if Naga Siren had buyback, it would have been used by now. So Rising Stars, they know they've got themselves 10 seconds to get at least a tier 2 down, possibly even this tier 3 at bottom.
I think they got all the time in the world. Tide's going to respawn, and he has no Ravage. Solar Bear's very, very far away. What is not going to do? Sleep for 3-4 seconds and just stall? Yeah. It's not going to do anything. So yeah, I think this game is won here for Rising Star as they're working on the Rex. And the way that the Dire Hero is coming back alive there, it's going to be layer one after another. Blinks in, Anti-Mage says, I want to fight, just chops him up, 3 hits, 4 hits, and they can focus on the Naga-san. Naga-san wants to sleep, but look at all the spell being dropped on top. Sleep is even going to get off. Big RP just for Haba. That is some really, really big hate. And this game just really got shred open in that one relocate gank.
Yeah, one pick off on Nagasiren. Nagasiren didn't have mana for the ultimate. The soaring was on cooldown. That was the big thing. He picked up a soaring really late into the game because he did not have that in the laning stage, I want to say. He picked that up late game to make sure he could pop soaring and then pop his ultimate to escape a gank where Antimage was the one basically burning him down. And 2 sets of Raxes go down all on the back of one pick off on the Kells. Looks like TNK going to be brought down once again. Lone Druid, he's got no escape. He can't afford to just keep throwing these heroes. It's like you say, they come back one by one and they're running in one by one. Rather than letting Raxus go and then fighting as 5, trying to hold out, they're going in one by one and they're going to be forced to GG out of this.
Yep. So MiTH Trust goes down. Not exactly looking like the comeback they were trying to make last game. This game, it was, I don't want to say a show because we had a lot of farming, but really showcasing what Wisp can do, especially in a Chinese game where there's a lot of farming. I mean, for the most part, he just farmed with his ally, but preventing those ganks from coming on his ally and always looking for those pickoffs.
Yeah, it's the Wisp pick, which has sort of been somewhat really influential this game. Super as a whole played a fantastic series. His Keeper of the Light from game 1 was ridiculously farmed, and Rising Stars, well, they've managed to find a way to break through a tough Southeast Asian team in MiTH Trust, who've had some decentish results in the recent past. They actually got to the grand finals of the Dota Talk League, beating Orange Esports, so they're by no means small fish in the Southeast Asian scene, but Rising Stars, they handle them. They get GG at 45 minutes here in game number 2, and after this 2-0 victory, they're going to go on to the next round. They're going to be versing the winner of 4 Love and Chain Stack, which will be our next upcoming best of 3.
Xiao2 looking for that jungle farm, tanking the entire fountain. Oh, big RP trying to get Tum, but R5 answers him back with a well-timed Ravage. But yeah, at this point it's just stat pattern. So I mean, is the Rising Star, the Wisp thing, is that a thing now, or is it just like what kind of a one-time gimmick, if you think?
Ooh. They picked it really early, but I think I don't know if it's a one-time gimmick, but I don't think it's a core strategy, which we'll see them picking every game as a core strategy, but I think it's more something which they'll do every now and then, depending on what team they're up against. I think partly was also they were encouraged to do it this game because they had that one game cushion, because they didn't pick it in game 1. It was just this game 2. It worked out decently for them. It was a very obscure way to play it with the anti-mates. They did the Wisp anti. It was meant to be a Wisp SK roaming, I guess. They weren't expecting the offensive trialing. That's what really amazed me about this game, about Rising Stars, is that they were not expecting an offensive trialing, but they dealt with the situation really well.
I mean, it was an offensive trialing that has the power to really shut them down at level 2. The jungle was warded off, so they can't play it passively either. So smoke gank up top, and that's really what started the game here for the Rising Star. But they'll take the series 2-0, and we're in the phase 2 of the G1 League. Hope you guys enjoying the broadcast of the Beyond the Summit. I'm Luminous, and join me as long as Gods. He is BTS Gods on Twitter and GGNet Gods on Facebook. I am Luminous Inverse everywhere that I go. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. We're going to take a pretty long break. When are we back, LD?
Should be back, I think, in like 2 hours and 45 minutes. We'll double check. We'll let you know for sure, though, guys. But it's going to be a long break.
It's going to be a long break, but what's after that? It's 4Love versus CSK. 4Love, of course, recently acquiring King J. So if you're a fan of old school Chinese Dota, you should stick around or maybe play a couple of Dota games, play some pubs. But join us back. We're going to be playing some pretty epic games as well for some of the other G1 League or GST Challenge. But for now, hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast so far. We're going to be taking a break as well.